How did the role of Jack Twist in Brokeback Mountain change from, or how did your approach to it, anyway, change from the moment you read the script until you finished filming?
Whew. Wow. I mean, when I read it, I wasn't quite sure. You know, the casting process was a little weird. You know, Aang just brought me into a room. I sat down with A.V. Kaufman, the casting director, and Ang Lee, and he just hardly said a thing. He just sat there, and I just said a couple things. He kind of nodded, smiled, and a sort of, and then sat there on more weird long beats with nothing much to say, and then he kind of patted my back and escorted me out, and I was like, oh, well. And then, like, 3 weeks later, I heard, like, he wanted to cast you in this part, you know, so I think he's looking for an essence of something, and in terms of, do you mean, like, also how it was responded to, or you mean just in terms of the process of doing the character?
Just what did you learn about him?
What a sad, broken-hearted fellow he was, you know?
And you don't see that at first blush, right? Because
No.
he's the seducer, sort of, right? The more
and
aggressive
kind of
guy.
charismatic, kind of
Yeah.
open, like, you know, having fun. You know, the guy who kind of knows the area and the land and has been there before and is not new to any of this. And I think he has, you know, it's always the ones who kind of, I think, sort of emote this positivity, I always say, you know, particularly in the position that he's in. I was deeply sad after that, you know. I mean, I think it was a very interesting journey. We were super young. We had no idea what the movie was going to become, but that whole movie, you know, for all of us, it's a real, even amidst the beautiful love between Michelle and Heath and all things, that there was a real sadness there, and particularly loneliness in that shooting where we were shooting, even with all the beauty around us.
How did Heath's death affect you?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I can answer that in one answer. Personally, it affected me in ways I can't really necessarily put into words, or even would want to talk about publicly. But in terms of professionally, I think, you know, I was at an age where, like, mortality was not always clear to me. Like, I don't think was that clear to me, you know?
At an age when you have not lost a lot of friends.
No.
Right?
No. And particularly because I think you live in this bubble too of making films, you know? There's this, like, weird way everybody kind of they're real friends, and there is a real community, but there also is that kind of, you know, there's that Macklemore new album where he says, like, the curtain closes and nobody notices, you know? And I do think I think that's true, and I think that's okay, you know? But I think at the time I sort of assumed everyone would notice, you know? And they did with Heath dying, but I think gave you the experience of what this is fleeting, and none of the sort of attention or sort of synthesized, like, love that comes from the success of a film, or that really matters at all. You know, what matters is the relationships you make when you make a film, and the people you learn from when you're preparing for a film, and that changed a lot for me.